In this video, I'm going to show a powerful yet little known feature of Photoshop: creating videos. I'm going to create a simple slideshow with music. We're going to create this slideshow by selecting our photos in Lightroom, then opening them as layers in Photoshop. Let's select these four. Now, when we open these up in Photoshop, we're going to right-click on any of the thumbnails. We're going to edit in, not Adobe Photoshop, but we're going to open as layers in Photoshop. If Photoshop wasn't open, Lightroom would open Photoshop and then add all these photos on separate layers. After all the layers have been created, let's select all the layers. We can do that by holding the Control or Command key and clicking the layers. Once the layers are clicked, here's where we go into the video feature. We want to show the video timeline. We go to the window, timeline, and you'll see this timeline underneath here and a button on it that says Create Video Timeline. Now, if you don't see this, you can pull down this little arrow, and if you don't see it, it's because it probably says Create Frame Animation. But we're going to go here and say Create Video Frame, and once we do that, we're going to click on that button. And you'll notice that it makes those photos into 4 individual clips. Now, if we pull down this little arrow beside the film icon, we want to make a new video group from clips. You'll notice that the 4 clips are now sequential. At this time, it would be important to save the file and give it some descriptive name. So because we opened up from Photoshop, when I hit File, Save, we're going to notice that right up here in the name, it has appended Edit. Okay, let's close this down and try to find this photo in Lightroom. We'll give it a unique name starting with PSV_, because this will be a Photoshop video file. It's going to be kind of unique. And then we'll give it a unique name, Slide Show Demo, and that was a TIFF. We're going to hit Enter, and you see it says Slideshow Demo. Now when we open this up to continue our editing, we're going to say Edit In, and this time we're going to select Edit in Photoshop, and we want to edit the original because the original had all of our layout here. So now what we want to do is continue editing the video, and I would recommend that you periodically save during your editing process. You'll notice that there is an audio track. I can pull down this little arrow and add audio. So let me select Bubblegum Ballgame. This is a free download from YouTube. If you have an account, it's free. So now that we have added the video track, we can press the space bar or the play button. You should hear the soundtrack and see the clips change. I'll hit the space bar again to stop it. So now what we want to do is add some cross-fade transitions. And right over here, if I hover over this box, it says select a transition and drag to apply. So if I go to this crossfade, all I need to do is drag it on to the files, right where the photo clips intersect. And you'll notice if I slide this, or let me hit the space bar, bring it in front of that. Okay, well, we went a little long, but let's assume we finalized the length of all the clips and transitions. And now we want to prepare this file for rendering to video. So let's take a look at the beginning of this, and we'll notice that we may want to fade in. And if we fade in here, we could use a fade. You see, it's coming in with a little, it shows the transparent background. What we want to choose is the fade with black. Now you'll notice that when we hit the space bar or the play button, it fades up. And when it gets to the end, again, it gets abruptly. So let's put a fade out. So fade with black, and it's smart enough to know that it'll fade out. So I don't need to see it all. I'll just go back to somewhere around here and see. Okay. It's almost done, except the track goes on and it doesn't end properly. But you notice if I select any one of these photo clips or even the video, there's a white bounding box. Matter of fact, you'll notice if you look into the layers palette, it kind of follows up there too. So let's select this last one. I think that'll be good. We'll just slide that right up against there. So in this case, let's select the audio track because it's a little too long. What I'm going to do is drag this right to the end of my last video, somewhere about there. And now you notice this red line intersects the selected audio track below. If I go to the scissors and cut it, I now have a left half to the track and a right half. I really don't want the right half, so I'm going to select it and hit delete. And now I can't put a fade, crossfade on here, but if I press this arrow, what shoots up, I can change the volume. You can type all of these in if you want. Leave it at 100%. And we're just going to fade out the music, and I want to say about 4%. Let's see, 4 seconds. Let's see what 4 seconds looks like. And I find this easy sometimes just to type it in. So now when we play this back, and that's it. Now again, we'll save this, and we'll hit File, Save. And this is ready to render. Now this little arrow down here, this is a rendering arrow. And when we click render, it will give us our file name and append an MP4, an MPEG-4. That's because we chose this format H.264. You can select the folder where you want this to render. You can put it onto the desktop. If you don't have a place, I put it into a folder called, on the desktop, Lightroom Watch folder. And I have Lightroom watching this folder. Anything that goes into it ends up in my Lightroom catalog. So I'm going to select the folder that on the desktop that's called the Lightroom Watch folder. The format is going to be 264. This is important. We're going to have the preset to be the quality. You can select many different codecs here, but we're going to say high quality, and we're going to leave it at the document size. And the nice thing is it takes the size of the photo clips. In this case, it's pretty big, 3,000 by 2,000. And it will render it. And the frame rate, I'd like to put the frame rate to 25. We're using stills. It doesn't matter. You can put it what you want. I'd like 25. And that's it. And we will select all the frames. Now, when I hit render, this is now going to take the music and the videos, and render this into an MPEG-4 file. Now, if you folks saw this, these are pretty big files. I went in at 3,000 pixels across because my intent was to post this onto YouTube. We want to make sure that there's an easy way for people to see this video. And of course, the easiest way is to put up a link like on YouTube, Vimeo, Flickr, whatever. The nice thing about choosing the document side, it's a one-to-one rendering, which is very important. Once you're putting a lot of transitions and everything on here, you'll really appreciate the one-to-one rendering. Now, once the file is through rendering, we can close down and save this document. We should be able to go back into Lightroom. So let's save this file, save. I guess we're all done. We'll close this document. It's safely here in Lightroom to be opened up again. See this? I'm going to show you something. If we right mouse click and then say edit in Photoshop, edit the original. This is pretty much where we left it off. However, if I stop in the middle of a dissolve and say File, Save, the nice part, when we go back to Lightroom, it shows, and it's very easy to see that it's a video file. Let's go find our file. And if I go find the file, and of course, if I click it, I can play it. That's a pretty big file. I'm not sure how. Now, something as simple as this could have been made in Lightroom. By the way, if you want to drag this again, at any given point, we can pull this down and say set as poster frame and then hit enter. So now when we go back and look at it, we'll know it's our video. Well, now let's send this up to YouTube. And that's as simple as right mouse clicking and say show in Explorer or Finder if you're using a Mac. And it will open up and show you where the file is. If I go up to YouTube, here's my upload arrow. When I click upload, it'll present me with this screen that says drop the selected files here. So I'll just take this, drop it, and that's it. It's starting to upload to YouTube. And when it's all done, I could let this be open to the public so anybody could see it. I can make it unlisted so only somebody with a link could see it, or I could make it private where nobody but me is going to be able to see it. So there's about 45 seconds remaining, and I'm going to make this public. Well, that's uploading and it's almost all done. A simple slideshow like this could have easily been made using Lightroom Slideshow. Now this will look very similar, but when you see the advantages of the video feature of Photoshop, like adding photo insets, adding videos to your stills, adding drop shadows, text, titles, and including the pan and zoom, you'll see the total flexibility of the feature. Let's go back. I'm sure this is already uploaded here. And now I can put keywords. I can say public. If I hit publish, it's going up to YouTube and available to the public. And this is the link. And if I go over to a new tab, if I copy and paste this into a new tab. This should start playing. But I think I'm going to leave it right here for now. If we sort by file name, we'll certainly be able to find it because it starts with P, or we could search for all of our videos the file name that starts with PSV underscore. So there it is. Okay, that's it for now.